It's the final round of the Tata Steel Chess Tournament, and you've got Gukesh D up top with Pragg. They're the main two runners here. What a tense final day it was. We're having a look now at the game of Gukesh D with white against Arjun Erigaisi, a man who's been plummeting down the live ratings but just made a bit of a comeback at the end of the tournament. This is a stunning game, a real shocker, 31 moves, and then we'll also take a look at the final standings of the tournament. So we see kicking off, Gukesh going pawn e4 here, e5 very solid, and after knight f3 we see a Russian defense.
Pooh, what a move. What a move.
Or Petrov, super solid. The pawn snatched off, d6 very standard, and now everyone and his dog is going knight f3 here, but we don't see it played. Is it a mouse slip from Gukesh? Of course that's a joke. They're over the board. It's an elite cheese tournament in the Netherlands. This is unusual, of course, and after takes on e4 we see queen e2, pin and win baby, but the interception comes. No horsey for you, and now just a weird looking move. Knight to e3. I mean, is he really a grandmother or a very naughty boy? That's what, 4 pony moves in the first 6. And black actually is standing a little bit better here already after knight c3, bishop e6 here, and it's, you know, roughly level, teeny bit better to black even, but Gukesh is trying to get a complicated fight. So he tucks this bishop into bed here. Now we see knight c6, queen d7, prepares that big battery, and after castles, we see castles queenside. Andrea starts spinning the beats. This is the chess we love. Quick king safety fist bump, fluttered out by the players. What a game we've got on our hands, and it just gets better because b4 Arjun can arrange his attack. Gukesh goes for this kind of weird wing gambit looking kind of thing. b5's on the way, and so what do you do when you get an attacked on the flank? You counter in the center here, which is what Arjun does. He's threatening d4 to fork those horses, but first b5 forces this one to the side of the board, usually very smelly, but it is headed for c4, and no time for d3 or d4 comes. Therefore this move is played. Good move, best move, and bishop h3. Very direct route 1 chess, and apparently bishop f3 is best, giving it an entire exchange here. And white remains a little bit better, apparently, somehow, despite being an exchange down. But we see the move of takes on h3. The queen comes in with a whoosh. Arjun says it over the board. Excellent etiquette. And after queen f3, pouring some sugar on the central pawn attack and defending down here, we get h5, a real hooray Henry, ploughing down the board, going for the checkmating attack. This knight takes on d5, h4, the knight shatters the pawns here, saddles Arjun with the double f's, and now because the queen is covering h1, you're okay if the h-file opens, but what if it opens and you get checkmated here? Then you're in trouble, right? So this is why we see the rook move to give space, but it wasn't best. Queen g2, the way to go. Try and swap these ones off the board, right? Game goes on, black a tiny bit better because of the big attack. But rook d1 is played. Now a pawn takes, which was played. Pawn recaptures. Yes, you can check here, but it's not actually checkmate. The king has a square, and if you want to keep checking, take the queens off, well, that's not ideal, right? Plus white can escape here. You can always block the e-file checks with the bishop. It's not the way to go. You want to keep the ladies on the board. So knight c4 was played, and now again you should offer the exchange of queens, but bishop f4 is a real stinker because now bishop h6 comes. This one's got to move a second time. The rook's now stack on the h-file. This one desperately offered, but you can slip back here, retain the pressure. Rook ab1 goes for the counterplay, but it's so slow. Arjun bringing that 19 points of pressure now, barreling down the open h-file. Rook b4 hits that knight. it comes into a3, looks a bit weird and offside, but it is annoying, hitting the pawn on c2. So what does Gukesh do here? Desperately goes for the counterplay with pawn b6, but great calculation from Arjun. He takes away from the center, not opening the a file. Now we see rook a4 going for the counterplay, but a backpedaling move covers the pawn on a7, and there's a nice tricky tactic. Looks like you're hanging this one, you know, forcing the queen to recapture, but actually you can take an entire rook, and it even leads to a checkmating attack. There you go, on the board. The runaway square's cut. Obviously this is all just horrendous. So what do we see? Rook d3 played, covering the knight. We see an exchange, takes with check, and now this is great precision, right? Because it looks like you should go king b8, run away to the corner. But then there's this move, g4. And the idea is that if you go to b5, which we see in the game, looking to check down here, now you've got a huge problem. Look at the bar, because you've created this checking square when you push g4. You can't step to the c file, so you have to step here. This is then how the line proceeds. Crazy rook sack, another check. The square cut forces the giving up of the queen, and white's technically winning in this position. Absolute madness. Therefore, this is not the way to step. Not that, by the way, after g4 you'd have to go queen b5, you could offer the exchange of the ladies, but it's not the way to go. Instead though, king d8 is played. You've still got the threat of queen d1 check, so this time we see f3. You know, if g4, it wasn't helping much either. Black's in a great spot, none of those tricky tactical checks, and now we see the move of queen b5, not only hitting the rook but threatening this monster check. What do? You're absolutely busted. You can go rook a c4, or you can take here. Doesn't matter. The queen is delivering a deadly check. No, it's not. Apologies. That was one option of a line, but this is even stronger. You check like this, and this is where I was getting ahead of myself. If you try and give the queen for the two rooks, you don't take back here, but now you deliver the check. This is how the line goes, of course. You pick it up, you're mating the king in a moment, and white can scramble, give some checks, but nothing you can do. So we come back, the queen didn't take, king f2, but bang, we see resignation from Gukesh. Horrible game by him with the white pieces there. The queen's dropping off the board, of course, and it's even checkmate intent. You know, you can check king d7. What we got now, g4, rook takes, and okay, let's go from here. Queen f1 check. It goes on and on and on. The mate's on the way in 7 moves, as you can imagine. Of course, this is just hopelessly lost. Checkmating attack. Unbelievable game by Arjun there, taking down Gukesh, and this is now the final results of the tournament. So in the end, they finished level on points because Pragg also lost his game to Vincent Keimer. What a battle that was. They go to playoffs. Who takes it home? It's Pragg 2-1. Incredible finish. I'll have to get to those games in some recaps in future. Boy oh boy, was this an incredible Tata Steel Cheese tournament. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have a look at the video on screen if you want some more epic chess, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.